We're back for week 3 of Kick Up the Dust, and I want to dive right in today. Our theme this week is dusty feet. You know, we've all individually walked down many roads in life, and collectively, if you think of all the roads that we've all went down, there would be too many to count. The things that we accumulate on our journey, both for bad and for good, begin to shape us, begin to define our lives. And because we've all been down many roads and we've all accumulated so many things, it could be skills, it could be gifts, it could be the love and affection of people around us, it could be opportunities, and it also could be disappointments, it could be heartache, and could be some difficult times that we've accumulated as well. Whatever the case, we have to keep walking down the road. One author said that the history of man's relationship with God is how God takes him on a journey and gives him his true name. And I think it's the road that we walk down, the things that shape us, the things that we accumulate, that God uses to call us out by name and give us our true name as we walk with him. You know, John chapter 13, verses 1 through 5, comes at an interesting time. It's the last time that Jesus would sit down with his disciples together before he was crucified on the cross. And in this time, he's knowing everything that is about to take place. And what he does in this moment is extraordinary. It's a picture of him as a servant like no other. Jesus, the Bible says in John 13 verse 1, it says, Jesus, because God had given everything into his hands, and knowing that he had come from God and that he was going back to God, he rose from his seat at the table, and he girded himself with a servant's towel, and he went about, took the water basin, and he washed the feet of each disciple. Dusty feet. You know, you ever watch one of those CSI shows and they're at an end and they can't trace the crime anymore, and finally they get a hold of somebody's shoe and they can tell where that person had been? You know, or sometimes I look at my boots at the end of the day, and man, they might be covered in oil, they might have all kinds of dust and sand, but you could take what's on my boots at the end of the day and tell where I'd been. It's the same way in our life and our walk with God. That sometimes you can just look at our feet and you can tell where we've been. Sometimes our feet get wearied from the journey. Sometimes we get tired of walking. Sometimes we wonder if where we're going ahead is worth going at all, worth trying to go there at all, wondering if our feet are going to make it. That's why what Jesus does in this moment, the disciples had walked with him up to this point where he's about to die. They're about to be scattered. Some are about to betray. Some are about to deny him, but all of them are going to run. And he wants them to know something important about their feet. This action that Jesus takes says, I don't care as much as about where you've been, as much as I want you to be free for where you're going. I know the journey that you've walked. I know the road that you've walked. I know the things that you've accumulated from the journey. And I want to wash your feet clean so that you can be free to go ahead to where you're going. Man, this is extraordinary when you think about leading and serving others, to not define them by the past or not define them by the road that they've walked on and limit them based off where they've been for where they're going. A servant in this way is able to look beyond themselves. I think that's what Jesus does. He's going to the cross and he thinks of others and looks beyond himself and begins to wash the feet of his disciples. If we're going to live beyond ourselves, we have to be willing to leave the den of selfishness. The den of selfishness is simply our selfish desires, our selfish emotions, and our selfish needs. A man who's going to serve others has to forget about his needs and trust God to meet them and look out for the needs of others. A man who's going to be a servant, a person who's going to be a servant, can't be led by an angry or bitter emotion. You have to be able to forget your emotions and channel your emotions to be able to serve and be bigger than that thing that happened to you, bigger than that thing that caused you anger, bigger than that thing that caused you sadness, and begin to serve others. Look beyond your desires, not just what I want to get, not just to get mine, but to consider what somebody else needs, desires, or feels in a moment. That's what it takes to lead a family. That's what it takes to lead a marriage. That's what it takes to lead our friends and to serve them. Leave the den. That's what Jesus did. He rose from the table. He got up from his seat, and the Bible says he laid aside his outer garment. What do you need to lay aside? Could it be a desire, an emotion, a need? What do you need to lay aside in order to position yourself to live beyond yourself and meet the needs of others and benefit others? You know, when we think of the roads that we've walked and that Jesus is at the table, or Jesus knows the roads that we've walked, it brings us on common ground. We've all had heartache, we've all had disappointments, hardships, we've all had successes and achievements, things that we've accomplished in life. And those things add to us, they shape us, and they allow us to have a common ground that regardless of what I've accumulated from my journey, Jesus is willing to wash my feet and make it look like I've never been through some of the things that I've been through and use them for his glory and cause me to walk forward on the journey focused on where I'm going. We can do the same thing. It gives us that common ground. I need Jesus to wipe the dust off my feet. I know you do too. And that's what gives us the ability to come to common ground and collaborate together and know that along the journey, we've all accumulated wisdom, perspective, skills, strengths, lessons that we know that now benefit others when we live beyond ourselves. So this week, is there an area in your life that you need Jesus to wipe the dust off of? If he was coming around the table and seated with us in a room, and he was coming around the table one by one and washing the feet of those there, what would you want him to wash off your feet when he got to you? Think about that. Give that area to him. Let the grip that thing has had on your journey be loosened so you can be free to walk ahead and live beyond yourself and begin to serve others and benefit them and be that piece of the puzzle that only you can bring because you let Jesus wash your feet. I'm glad that you're walking down the road with us and that you're kicking up the dust. And it's okay that your feet get dusty every now and then, but let's let Jesus wash them so that we can keep going ahead to all the great things that he has for us. I'll see you on the road.